Welcome to another edition of Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Chris Hopper. Now, the Indiana men's basketball team had not lost 2 consecutive games all season going into last week, but they'd have to face 2 tough teams on the road in Purdue and Michigan. Now, Indiana fell short against Purdue on Thursday. Would they be able to bounce back against Michigan? Let's go out to the highlights. Looks like the Michigan faithful are ready. They know how big this game is for the Wolverines. We pick it up early in the first. Senior Lester Abram for Michigan hits the 3. Michigan up 9. Next possession for Indiana. Wilmot drives to the basket. He hits this jumper to bring the Hoosiers within 7 at the half. They would only score 18 in the first half, their lowest of the season. Pick it up early second. Ben Allen over to Eric Sir, who hits the bucket to bring IU within 8. Next possession for Indiana. They're down 8. Eric Sir with the 3, and he's fouled. He would go for the 4-point play, but unfortunately he would miss the free throw. Indiana down 5. Later, Michigan with the ball. Abram to Petway. Nice little fadeaway jumper here, and the foul on DJ White, who was in foul trouble all night. Hoosiers are down 5. Late second half, making a run, Eric Sir with the ball to Ratliff, who passes it down low to Mike White, who goes up for the layup to bring Indiana within 1. DJ likes it, but he was still on the bench in foul trouble. Later, Michigan with the ball again. Deion Harris down to Courtney Sims for the nice lay-in. Wolverines up 1. And then a little bit later, Eric Sir again, down to Mike White, who goes up for 2, and the foul. Indiana would take their one of their leads of the game, up by 1, but just a little bit later, Deion Harris would hit the 3 to put Michigan up for good. They would go on to win this one 58-55. Now Harris led the way for the Wolverines on 5 of 11 shooting, and Sims came off the bench with 13 points. For the good guys, it was an all-around struggle as the Hoosiers shot just under 36% from the floor and 61% from the free throw line. Balance scoring for IU as Mike White led the way with 11 points. Wilmot and Sir chipped in with 10 points apiece, but DJ White was largely invisible with just 7, largely a result of his 4 fouls. The road loss drops the Hoosiers to 7-5 in the conference and 17-8 overall. Now, before Michigan was a showdown with Purdue in West Lafayette, let's go out to the highlights of that one. IU was looking to sweep Purdue in the season series in West Lafayette. Let's pick up the action early in the first half. Carl Landry with the ball. He takes it in on DJ White. He goes up for the 2 to give Purdue the lead. Next trip down, David Teague in the corner for 3. You'll be seeing a little more of this later. That was just the beginning. But for Indiana, Joey Shaw, with the shot clock expiring, he hits the 3 to bring IU within 6. Just a little bit later, Teague again hits another 3. He was 4 for 4 at the beginning of the game. Rod Wilmot finds DJ White for the 2. They go into the half down 2. We pick it up early second. DJ White, the tough fadeaway shot, and he'll get it to go over Carl Landry. IU's down 2. But then Teague again from the corner. He extends the Boilermakers lead to 9. And even when he passes the ball, he ends up getting it back in his hands. David Teague finishes with a career-high 32 points. Not much love in Mackey Arena. Purdue wins it 81-68. The seniors dominated in this one. David Teague's 32 points were a career high, and Carl Landry finished with 22 points and 11 boards. DJ White had 16 points in the first half, but only managed to finish with 20 for the game. Matt DeBolt has more from West Lafayette.
Indiana failed in their bid to win a 6th straight game over the rival Purdue Boilermakers, leading as late as the 11-minute mark of the second half, 52-51 on a Rod Wilmot bucket. But a 30-16 run by Purdue over the game's final 11 minutes led to an 81-68 defeat.
Battled back, played tough, and then the second half found a way to get the lead, and then I'm not sure what happened. Those turnovers, there's usually when you really play well for the first 9 minutes of the half, you'd like to extend that.
It's ranked like 19th in the nation, going up against a team that, we are capable of beating. We wanted to just take advantage of that, of this game today, and we went out there and just played well, gave it 110%, and came over with the win.
And one of the main differences between the 2 Indiana-Purdue games was the play of David Teague. Now, the senior guard scored 32 points in this matchup with 6 3-pointers after scoring only 11 in the first game.
Teague hit some tough shots. He has tremendous range on his Three-point shot, he can get it off. His kids with his length and as athletic as he is, he just jumps up over you. And those aren't easy shots that he was hitting tonight.
Indiana continues to struggle in conference play on the road, now falling to 1-4 in games away from Assembly Hall.
But they're like us. We both got to prove we can go on the road and compete for 40 minutes. Tonight we were awful good for 30.
After the tough defeat, Indiana now finds itself at 17-7 and 7-4 in conference play. Reporting from Mackey Arena, I'm Matt DeBolt, Hoosier Sports Night.
We're now going to welcome in Matt DeBolt to talk a little IU basketball for a few minutes. Matt, thanks for coming in. Let's get right to it. First of all, let's talk about IU's road struggles. They've had a very good home record this year, undefeated, but they just can't seem to win on the road. What's been the problem for the Hoosiers?
Well, looking at IU's road struggles, there's a real lack of intensity for the Hoosiers. This often leads to poor starts, which Indiana hasn't quite been able to recover from at Michigan and Purdue. Moving on, DJ White struggled on the road. He scored 16, of course, in the first half at Purdue, but has scored only 12 points since in the last 3 halves of basketball. He really needs to pick it up. And also, you look at the defense. In 2 of the last 3 games on the road, Indiana's given up 80 or more points, which is just really uncharacteristic for them.
All right, Matt, moving on to the Big Ten tournament. It's only a couple of weeks away. Indiana nearly made it to the finals last year. They lost by 1 to Ohio State in the semis. How do you see the Hoosiers doing this year?
Well, I think Indiana's going to start off with the 3 seed. That's how I see them finishing out the regular Big Ten season. That will, of course, give them the Thursday bye. They'll play their first game on Friday. I think they're going to win that game, but looking ahead to the semis on Saturday, I just don't think they're playing well enough to beat Wisconsin or Ohio State away from Assembly Hall.
All right, IU's NCAA seed now. It looks like they're in the tournament for sure, even though they've had some tough road losses. Where do you see them ending up in the field?
Well, of course, yeah, we're only 3 weeks away from the selection. At 17-8 right now, I see Indiana finishing off the Big Ten 3-1, 1-1, of course, in the Big Ten tourney. That would leave them at 21-10. That record with their upset victory over Wisconsin and their number 3 finish in a major conference like the Big Ten, I think even with the double-digit losses, that's going to get Indiana around a 5 seed.
All right, so we're looking ahead a little bit past IU. There's a couple teams in the Big Ten who are on the bubble right now, Purdue, Iowa, Illinois, and MSU. Which of those teams, if any, will make the NCAA tournament?
Well, I think you start at the back. You got Iowa. They're playing pretty well in Big Ten play, except for their loss, of course, Saturday at Michigan State. But I think their pre-conference losses are going to come back to haunt them. Don't think they're going to quite have enough wins to get in. Illinois is a borderline team right now. They could certainly play their way in through the rest of the season. And as we stand right now, I think Michigan State and Purdue are both in. You know, it's theirs to lose. Michigan State can certainly help their rankings by beating Indiana Saturday night.
All right, before we let you go, big game on Sunday, Ohio State and Wisconsin. First of all, who wins that one and who's going to be your Big Ten champ?
Well, I think the Big Ten really comes down to that game. And just like the first matchup, I think Wisconsin is going to go on the road to Columbus, and I think they're going to knock off Ohio State. I'm going to have to go with the experienced Badgers here.
All right, thanks a lot, Matt, for your time. We're going to take a quick break here on Hoosier Sports Night. Make sure you come back. We got some women's basketball updates after this.